Welcome back to the Money Hill, your number one Call of Duty podcast with a betting focus, taking you through all the matches and majors of the 2022 CDL season. With that being said, we are headed into week 2 of Major 4, New York Subliners home major. I'm back with Nikita and Chris.
Yeah, you are.
How are we doing today, boys? It's a highlight of my week. You get a 2-week break from Call of Duty, and we're back, and it feels great every time to record these podcasts.
So good.
It's awesome. It is. It's nice to have you back, Chris. You missed one of ours last week.
I didn't miss this one.
I'm actually more excited to have you. More excited to have you back for the League one because
electric.
Your boys CLG was so good, and then you weren't there for it, and it was like, well, what's happening?
He gave up on them so long ago.
He's hijacking this podcast.
I mean, yeah, he just wants to take it over, make it TGA. Hey, if you haven't listened to TGA, aka the Gold Advantage, you should go give it a listen, especially if you're interested in League of Legends or just an avid bettor. We have some things to say over there, slightly more educated, not on my end, but there's some takes, and I've been pretty hot recently. So
there are some takes.
There's definitely takes, that's for sure. As is also true on this podcast.
There are bounties. Were there bounties? We should start having our own bounties.
No bounties in the LCS. That's honestly the problem with the viewership on it. If you really ask me, take a note.
That's why it's fake.
No, we had a spicy week, gentlemen. It was pretty interesting, I have to say. Some things, some theses, some hypotheses were proven to be true coming into this major, these qualifiers, and some other ones are there's some unstable instability that we're encountering currently. Yeah. If we want to start on one end of the spectrum,
which side of the spectrum?
To start that conversation wherever.
Let's do it.
I'm more with the hypotheses that were proven correct side, aka LAG too little too late. This doesn't really make sense. It's a pretty sideways move, and they're still a mediocre to bad team currently.
Yeah, I mean,
we talked about this. I agree with it. There's nothing more to add. I think it's exactly what it is.
Well, we could keep building on that because one of the matches that they lost was to Toronto Ultra, who also was believed to be semi-fraudulent coming out of that major.
Well, semi-fraudulent is the wrong way to say it.
A little home major buff.
That's not even true.
Not so good.
They just know how to play on LAN in front of a home crowd. That still means they're good.
I mean, listen, I really don't think they're that good.
We know where you stand on this, and
they got beaten hard.
That's the thing.
And the Ravens.
No. That's the difference.
Ravens brought back Gizmo.
Correct.
So this is very interesting to have the conversation.
This is
are London good again?
That's the conversation I want to have.
But at the same time,
I think London are good again, bad. And more importantly, they're better than Toronto.
Here's where I am. Here's where I am. The Ultra are still terrible at fucking hardpoint. That's where it starts and ends.
Well, yeah.
They're pretty good at S&D when the game slows down and you can be thoughtful and you can win gunfights. And there's strategy. They're good at control. They are fucking terrible at hardpoint. And that is the beginning, middle, and end of this entire story. They still haven't solved that game mode in this game. And so I think that they're capped on how good they can be. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
they're not bad. They're still,
if you can't win 2 out of 5.
They're still a top 10 team. So they're not bad. 2
maps a series. I mean,
top 10. Okay, they're top 10.
Sure, you can have that.
The only thing I really want to shout out in that series is Zero's KD.
Talk to me about it.
Plus 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Yeah, there's not much to say about it, but at the same time, what does that say about the Insight Cammy duo that should be doing something about Zero? Right?
Well, Insight Cammy both went positive, so really where we have a lot of negative comes from the form of Bance and CleanX.
Which I've been saying all year that it's Bance's time to go.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm so in support of CleanX. I think he has way more impact just in the way he moves and kind of the gunfights he's taking.
I mean, we collectively.
Title of our previous video, which you guys can check out at the end of the last major, is that Ultra and LA Thieves did too well at the last major to justify change, and that's going to be
now
they should have made a change. They didn't because they got to top 4. And watching them play this weekend, I was like, this is not a team.
You've incited inside me another conversation that I really would like to have here, which is did LA Thieves actually overperform? It is. Listen, I mean,
yes.
Outside of S&D against Atlanta FaZe, looked extremely
this
dangerous.
is something. Can I quickly? This is a really LA Thieves record breakers. They set
Which
a
record
new
is that?
Oh
record.
yeah, I know about this.
Blivin, do
Yeah.
you know about this
Does
record?
Chris know about this? Does
This
Chris
is
know about the
first
individual
time
record?
ever in the history. So it is an individual record by Mr. Bliven's favorite
Okay, tell me
player,
more.
Octane. So in the 6-0-6-0 loss to FaZe, back-to-back donuts.
Impressive.
There wasn't just a donut on Thieves' side. Octane also failed to get a single kill across both S&D games. Big fat.
By the way, I could do
0-0.
the same. I could play
Which
just
is
as well.
wild.
I listen. I very much expect.
That is actually
Well,
wild
no.
that
Actually,
he was unable to
actually,
get a
you
single
could not
kill.
play as well because
I could
the
have. I
crazier
literally
part
could have.
about the first donut in that series is that he had the second highest damage in the lobby. So like, I don't even know.
Yeah, he just wasn't able to finish
Yeah, I just
things
don't
off.
know how that's possible,
Well,
especially in
that's-
Vanguard where you kill people in 2 bullets.
That's where
so
I-
then you
that's where I-
you lead in this
Yeah.
like weird conversation.
That's where I excel, is in finishing off. But what I will say is, I mean, I'm not ready to leave off London, Toronto yet. But needless to say, I do have a boner coming when it comes to time to talk to LA Thieves and the FaZe match.
Well, I mean, they fucking
Well,
smashed.
what more do you have to say about
so-
London and Toronto?
I think London were gonna have their honeymoon phase, right? They were gonna have a good first weekend back. It's great seeing Gizmo. Felt good, like being back home. Mom's home cooking, having him back in it, and so it felt good. Naturally, they were gonna win. I'm glad to see Ultra still can beat a disheveled LAG team.
3-2, by the way.
3-1. Thank you.
No, 3-2.
3-1.
3-1.
They beat them 3-2.
No, they beat them 3-2. Sorry, Ultra lost to
Sorry.
Ravens 3-1. Yeah, it was 3-2.
Mhm.
So,
Sorry, it was right.
commanding win. We have a lot that I think I'm very excited to see this week's matchups for them. I think that, obviously they're playing FaZe. That'll be a barn burner, and I expect actually an exciting
And
matchup
I think
there.
that the bad thing is that as much as they won the 3-2, like the S&D, they lost one Toronto Ultra to the LAG. And it was 6-3 on the final one. But
I'm not gonna squabble.
talking about
much, but-
LAG.
I mean,
Their
the
matchup
story this entire
FaZe.
year has been win your S&Ds and win majors.
But London's upcoming weekend is going to be electric. They're playing the 2 teams that I have absolutely zero feel for, the ROKKR and Forida Mutineers. Couldn't tell you if they're good or bad. Have no clue. And so I think it'll be quite telling if they're able to go 2-0 this weekend or 0-2.
I think Mutineers went 1-1, so
it's
you know exactly how.
it's still the Mutineers.
It's like it is ordained. They lost one, they won one. Now it's time to lose one.
They gotta
So
lose one again.
That's
Well,
how it's gonna go.
They're just gonna lose.
Going back to LA Thieves and FaZe, I don't know. Like they 3-0'd Boston
Yeah.
Breach. Which
Well,
is
I mean,
good.
we should
Quick
start with
and
the
easy
fact
win.
that LA Thieves, since the inception of the CDL, has not beaten Atlanta FaZe a single time, or since
Yeah.
I guess they became a franchise
But
because they
they-
originally weren't.
But honestly, like horrendous performance on S&D, but then 250 on the map one hard point to get to 128. So 100.
Yeah,
piece
I mean
there.
they
hard
But this
fought
is where
3-2.
this is
It's
where I
like-
think, to me, this is a closer
Like,
game.
what happened?
The scoreline there is closer than the game actually was. I think
no. That control was an absolute dogfight. Like they were one round away of control from winning that entire series.
I know, but I think game 4, like game 4 they won. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like it should have been a 3-1 to me. I hear
I mean, they
you.
had pretty commanding hard points. Like that's kind of where
Well, they had one commanding hard point, but they
the
got a 100
crazier
point
part
on it.
about this is that Octane
first
drops
map-
in 06, the first S&D, and then he comes back, plays pretty well for 2 maps. Like they didn't win map
Yeah.
3, but it was extremely close. And FaZe is notoriously good at control over the last 2 seasons, but it's been a little shakier this year. And then he kind of goes off in map 3 as well. Like Thieves just like looked good kind of when it mattered, which is what we haven't really seen this year. And then, their S&D is shaky, but also like I think FaZe has realized that S&D is the game mode that's really going to set them apart, and they've kind of focused on that.
Yeah,
like,
well, Cellium went a 1.44.
Does that mean that they're like now going to win?
I think they might win Major 4, but it's
no,
also
no. You
like,
said
I think there are better
you said
respawn
Minnesota's
going to
win Major
clearly
4.
displayed. Yeah, I know, but that's my prediction already. I'm locked into the Minnesota prediction.
I'm already locked. I'm locked into FaZe, so things are all going according to plan.
Yeah, but the other problem that exists here is that yes, you can be good at S&D during your qualifiers and you can rely on it to win, but the teams that are winning majors are not winning their S&Ds and qualifiers. They're like, it's like an energy bar that they're saving up to the major, and then they go on like a 12 streak where they've just like outstratted every team.
Yeah, it's almost like they get burned out just by playing this game too many days in a row.
Well, yeah, that or like you win enough qualifiers, and then obviously you're going to get VOD reviewed into oblivion, and people are going to know how to play S&D against you. So like, might as well lose your qualifier S&Ds at this point.
For Thieves,
and just win the fucking major one.
For Thieves, how do you improve? Do you cut Kenny? Should we trade?
No, I don't think they. My point is that, like, they went 5-3 on map count this weekend, and like 3 of those are in an Atlanta FaZe loss.
What do you think about this trade? Can I propose a trade to you?
I don't think they need to move anybody. I think they're playing way better.
Can I propose a trade for you?
Go ahead.
Bance for Kenny.
No, like not in a fucking million years.
No.
Sure.
No way.
Kenny might be inconsistent, but the fact of the matter is that
I'll buy a jersey and burn it.
Yeah. Like, the fact of the matter is that he can still, show up, and he did during the major, kind of when it mattered. Like in those series where
I think you're just,
it's coming down to the wire.
I just think you're disparaging Bance in a form that is disrespectful.
He's been bad this year.
He has been bad, but he hasn't been like unassailably bad. Like there have been like CleanX has been going back like across a bunch of matches. Like CleanX is sometimes way worse. So like look at this Toronto Ultra.
Yeah, but that's in an effort to do more.
Ultra.
That's kind of the point.
Ultra versus the Thieves right here. I've got Kenny getting torched. Kenny's by far every time that they get just destroyed, the man who is letting that team down. Like I think you're overlooking Kenny's performance.
No, he's been bad this year, and I'll say that been
okay,
extremely
so
inconsistent.
Why don't we trade out Bance for Kenny? 2 players who are underperforming on their teams.
Kenny, I'd rather get
you
someone
just need
better.
to shake it up a bit.
Why would you not go get someone better? Like if New York gets eliminated, you might consider Hydra for something like that. Like that's a possibility because they also don't own him going into next season.
Well, if you want to talk about
that would make sense.
If you want to talk about a team that's peaking right at the wrong time of the year on online gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think
it's happening all over again.
Yeah, it's like, going into the major looked really good.
Yeah. Looked really good.
They definitely look like they've improved even past like that qualifier. Like they look better than they did in the prior one. But like it's an inconsistent Florida roster that they beat, and also a brand new Florida roster. And New York is clearly in the mindset like, yeah, we have to win every game pretty much, and probably need to have better map counts than this to even consider it. But they look pretty drilled in terms of just like how they're playing, and there's a lot of coordination across the board. So I mean, kudos to them, but they also only beat like LEG as well. So I don't know where I stand on it exactly. Like I think they'll be better in this major, but who knows? They could just choke on LAN.
Yeah, I'm still not after last major's performance where we kind of were like, shit, are they actually gonna be legit? And they basically flop out straight away.
They play one
I
of
don't
the.
see it happening. And what do they need? They need they have to win or something like that to make it to champions.
They play one of the worst teams in all of Call of Duty right now this weekend. So OpTic Texas should be pretty scared.
The other team, before we get into the kind of big topic, I guess that Chris is touching on here, but Seattle Surge come out 3-0 Paris Legion, doing what champs do, as they should. Like you gotta win that 3-0. But Temp did, interestingly enough, tweet that Seattle was the best team in the game after that. And I think he has fairly good read on it as an active player. So that stuck out to me a little bit.
Well,
all right, Chris.
They have a fun weekend this weekend. They play Boston Breach and the York Subliners, 2 teams that they should be able to throttle.
Who?
Seattle.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you'd expect, but I think they'll probably lose to New York or something weird like that.
Yeah, and especially with the odds, that's actually one of the bets I want to take.
We can get there. All right, Scoot, what's wrong with your team? They get fucking 3-1 to the Minnesota fucking ROKKR. And they lose
Who, I mean,
three.
are not a bad team.
Yeah, but they're also not a good team.
No, they're pretty good.
They lost to the Mutineers 3-0.
How is Ultra a good team?
I mean, you're not gonna.
How is Ultra a good team, but ROKKR's not a good team?
They lost to Florida 3-0.
This makes no sense.
But Mutineers are fucking world enders when all of them are shooting straight. That's the thing you're forgetting. Is that like
not forgetting, but
half the time it's okay. Yeah, we can't
This isn't new
trade
Mutineers,
anyone.
This is
I know,
new.
but they still have the two players that like do all of the hard carrying when they're shooting straight, which is Skies and Awakening. Like that's not gonna that fundamentally hasn't changed. What's changed is like the other shit with like Search and Destroy.
They lost to Boston
looked
Breach.
a lot better.
They lost to Boston Breach.
Yeah.
And before that, they got 3-1 by Thieves. And before that,
no, they got reverse swept by Boston Breach. Let's be very clear.
Yeah.
I'm not really gonna count for like Major 3 here. I think that's a completely different beast.
I'm just going back. I'm just
There's
reading
a
off.
2-week break in between that.
I'm reading off your past experience, your past matches. Yeah,
All right, I mean,
let's talk about it.
the reverse sweep to Boston Breach, not pretty, obviously, and you know, it's hard to kind of come to terms with that one. Like, I think worse than the Minnesota series because they needed to lose to Minnesota after getting reverse swept, and I'll explain why in a minute. But I don't know. It's like they still look drilled to kind of win in those first two maps, and then it kind of fell off the table a little bit. But my only defense for all of this is that the last time that they got reverse swept and then beaten by Minnesota right after was Major 1. The first two matches of the season, if you remember correctly. And they won 7 straight series after that, I believe, and then won a major. So I think if any team is very capable of learning from mistakes, we've seen it already this year with OpTic, and I think Rambo Ray will do a good job. I'm not like that pressed about these losses. You're gonna hit a cold streak eventually. I'd rather it be now than Major 4 or Champs, something like that. So I don't know. Like, let's see if Prolute's really made for it. That's kind of where I stand.
Honestly, I think, unfortunately, what should have been OpTic's year, should have been OpTic's Champs, is now really up in the air. I don't think Prolute is good, but he isn't illey, and OpTic is a step down from where they were with illey, and like it now is a question of, I think when they were playing with illey, it was like they were so far ahead of everyone else, and they looked really good. And then once you've taken him out, we've seen these small missteps. Well,
he may be making a comeback.
Really was
allegedly.
Maybe.
No, like maybe pretty soon.
That's
I don't know if that's true.
And how long is it going to take for them to get back used to playing with them?
I mean, I think the system's the same as when he left. Like, they're just trying to do the same things with Prolute, which is probably pretty easy to fit him back in there. My thing is, like, we can make all the judgments about kind of Prolute and all that we want. It's not a huge sample size that we have to work with. We got like Major 3 qualifiers, and then
I don't think he's bad. Like, I think he's performed well. But are you saying like there's no way they're not weaker without?
Well, I think this is about the time you're gonna find out. Like, it's really the effect of having illey on a team, and like, I think what he brings to the table is not necessarily like being a crazy Call of Duty player. Yeah, he has those like pop-off moments in finals usually.
Yep.
But like when they got better, it was partially because he was pushing them too.
He's got a championship
and if that
pedigree.
presence is still there and Prolute is as good as him, I think they will improve here and kind of move forward from this. Or like, yeah, they're just not as good with him and they lose the next couple matches. So the rebound is kind of what matters for me here. It'll tell the story.
Well, we got two.
That's where I stand.
We have 2 matches this weekend for them to rebound. Paris Legion, layup. If you guys fucking lose to Paris Legion, then you got to sound some fucking alarm bells.
Yeah.
Then you play a desperate New York Subliners team, and I think that'll be a pretty good matchup. I like that.
I mean, that's always going to be a good matchup. You got Crimsix, former OpTic member against OpTic, and he's apparently just made enemies with everyone in the league. So
we love that. Sounds like my kind of guy.
It's the typical villain story.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting week of Call of Duty. I think like we can kick it off with Friday if you guys want to get into the picks this week. If we have any more teams to talk about, I'd love to throw them out there.
Just kind of the update. OpTic is Envy is no more.
That's pretty interesting.
They're retiring the Envy brand to use OpTic for everything, apart from their Dallas Fuel and I think
what else were they
one.
using it for?
But that's it.
Rocket League.
Yeah, maybe Rocket.
I don't know if Apex. I think OpTic just.
But I don't know. I
Apex
feel
team.
like I basically, but
anything that was
Envy
FPS
is
was
done.
OpTic,
RIP.
and then all of their relevant competing teams currently, or like their most relevant competing teams, are OpTic gaming brands by nature of them being FPS teams, aka like their Valorant team is #1 in North America. Well, no, not anymore. They lost last night, but they're #1 internationally. They won the first international major this year, and then OpTic is OpTic in Call of Duty. Like that's just kind of how it goes. So they just made the switch on everything.
All right.
I forget what else they're involved
Yep.
in, but every like streamer too now as well. Yeah, that's a pretty big update. There's not really much else in terms of like Vanguard or roster changes. We're not really expecting that this week anyway. If anything, maybe illey comes back, but I don't know how likely that is. I think it's fairly unlikely.
Yeah, I think we have to assume that's not happening.
All right, let's kick it off with Friday. What do you guys got on the board that you like, or Saturday or Sunday? Best picks of the weekend. I'm actually cool with wherever. We can just kind of bounce around here.
I absolutely love the Toronto Ultra over the Atlanta FaZe. 2.86. My actual pick is map 1. I think that FaZe start off so slow, but no one starts off slower than the Toronto Ultra. You can get FaZe at minus 32.5 for map 1 at 1.87. I love that pick. Ultra suck at hardpoint. Like, I don't know why you would ever bet them on map 1.
I mean, I can get on board with that.
And it's
I'm cool with
Yeah,
the FaZe
certainly.
spread on hard. That's a huge spread, but you know, it is.
it could have been minus 100. I'd probably still take it.
That's you wouldn't.
I
do
like
that.
the -1.5 on FaZe. 1.83. I think that's just good odds.
Wait,
Solid odds.
Ultra
I don't
is
think
now
there's kinda much
2.96.
more
It's
to-
changed. Did you just play? Never mind. That was map 1. Just kidding. Sorry.
Chris. I just don't think that Ultra are winning this.
No, I'm not taking Ultra over FaZe. That's no way. I'll take Ultra -1, FaZe -1.5. But that's there's no way I believe that Ultra's
I
gonna
mean,
be FaZe.
yeah, there's.
No way.
I don't see a path to this.
Well, they win S&D, which is FaZe's best map. Then they win. Then they win.
So
then they win.
They lose both hard points because they suck at
They lose
them.
both.
And they win one control and win the
Yeah.
series, so that's good.
What's
they win the
let me tell you what
series
map
4-1.
3 is.
For
I
the
got
FaZe.
Ultra map 3 at 2.13. Pretty tasty.
I don't know if it even gets to map 3. I think they forfeit at the end of map 2.
They quit them.
No.
Choke them out.
What I would-
they just
I would
Just
take
walk
FaZe
out.
minus 32.5 on map 1, and then if that wins, I'd roll that over into map 3 Toronto Ultra winning.
But why? You know,
Control?
why waste money like
They're
that?
gonna win control.
That's all I really want to know. You know,
FaZe isn't
No, I
this.
don't know that they are going
you
to
guys
win
are acting
control.
like FaZe is like a world beater right now. They're not. They're not a world beater.
FaZe is like the
they're
second
like the
best team.
most consistent team in the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who would you put
Seattle
above
Surge.
them?
I'm kind of on with Scoot.
That's why you said second.
Yeah, that's fine, but they're not playing against
Okay.
Seattle.
They're playing against fucking Toronto.
Next match.
Yeah.
You don't think Toronto's gonna be demoralized after getting like run off the table in hardpoint and then fucking destroyed in search and destroy, which has been their bread
Nah.
and butter game mode all year?
Yeah.
They-
I
it's
know,
It's gonna be
right?
crazy, right? Like,
No,
no,
it's gotta be.
yeah, they won't be demoralized or anything. That's not gonna. Yeah, that won't happen.
They love
Um,
playing FaZe.
Any takers on Seattle Surge, Boston Breach? I feel like, you know, Boston's not good enough to win this right now.
I mean, it's like 4.72 odds on Boston. I did look at it, but no. I think Seattle's still looking really
Well, I think
good.
they're more likely to lose to New York, which the book agrees with that pretty heavily. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, listen, we can roll that over into a little Saturday discussion, which is I would take New York Subliners here at 2.87 against Seattle Surge. I think
Yeah.
if any team's just a fucking world ender online, it's New York, and that's been pretty proven over the
Seems
last
to be
couple
that way.
qualifiers.
100%.
They look pretty good
They
too.
do.
And there's always that chance that, you know, Fred and Sib can't carry that day. So like what's gonna happen?
That's 100% what I like. I had that highlighted. It's not really. I'm not necessarily going crazy over the argument. I think subliners are online warriors. I think the odds are good enough. This is worth putting a little bit on and kind of seeing what you can get.
Completely agree.
I mean, Legion Texas is also almost just not worth talking about unless you want to consider like Legion Map 1 or Legion Map 1 spread, which might actually be pretty solid, honestly.
Map I have highlighted, Mutineers Ravens. I have Mutineers at 1.81 and Ravens at 1.925. You know what? Ravens looked really good, I thought. And Mutineers are up for a loss.
Yeah, Mutineers are due at this point.
I mean, that's currently a lock.
Yeah, so I was like 1.925 just for the money line. I was like, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, you could go for -1.5 if you're feeling spicy.
Well, I was gonna say,
and that will give you a 3.1.
So Subliners beat
like,
the Mutineers 3-1. Then Mutineers get really frisky, beat ROKKR 3-0. To me, this is an absolute -1.5 for the Ravens, and so I'm taking that 3.1 as you mentioned.
All right.
I mean, yeah, I can honestly get on board with the London -1.5 here. I think 3.1 is like pretty solid. I will also say that like under 4.5 at 1.52, even shit odds like that, it still looks pretty good to me because I feel
it's
like
definitely not going 5, one way or another.
Florida's conditions feel like either smoke the other team or just fuck off for the entire map. So I don't like, I don't really have a huge read on that, and I feel like it doesn't go 5.
Agreed.
By any means. We do have 4 matches on Saturday, actually. I think I said 3 originally. The last one being Atlanta FaZe, LAG. You know the odds there. It's not worth betting on. LAG's in heavy regression at the moment, and I don't think there's any way they win this series.
Is there any chance that the LAG that won Major 3 just rears its head against either FaZe or Boston?
I
mean, they might beat Boston.
Maybe
but like,
so I'm not going near Boston just because I don't trust either team. Yeah,
I don't have a real read on Boston either.
So to me, I think Boston should. I feel like on paper, especially the way Boston started, I want to say they win.
I think they beat LAG.
But I don't believe that they will.
I just think they're like their roster across the board is far more consistent.
Well, if
like
that's true,
yeah, but they're playing terribly.
They're not playing terribly. I mean, they're just like, it's a weird team. Like I don't.
Well, then take the -1.5 at 2.5.
They got absolutely slaughtered by Thieves, but maybe don't completely.
I think like the way I stand on this, and after having watched them, I think I also believe it to be true. But like the Vivid move is never like when your team goes and gets Vivid, right, and benches someone, it's never gonna be like a super like heavy impact move. Like he's not gonna drop bombs for you that often. It's like it's not a Hydra or anyone like that. But I feel like it does add a level of like kind of consistency that they were missing with Capsule that started to rear its head kind of midway through the season, whereas they started extremely consistent. Remember that? I mean.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. They started off really consistent, and we had them at one point in our top 6, and then it's just been a decline since then. If you're saying that actually this might help prop them back up, I would definitely -1.5, 2.59, or even the money line.
Let it be.
We had a weird look at them last weekend. That's for sure.
Let it be known there are no bounty matches this week, so I don't even know if people will even try.
That's
true. Yeah, there's no bounty matches.
Oh,
why would they
outrageous! What's the point? What's the point of showing up?
Sunday also very interesting.
Final team that's just not going to show up is Texas against Subliners.
You think so?
No, I'm actually asking you on that one. This is a map like so 1.769 on Texas, and 1.98 for New York.
It doesn't feel like enough value.
The bet that stands out for me is -1.5 OpTic. 2.76. I really like those odds. But if OpTic looks a mess, if they lose to Legion, then I say you take the -1.5 for Subliners, and that's 3.05.
That's not going to be 3.05 if they lose to Legion or even look like they're going to. That's going to go so far down.
That was shit down. But I mean, like, look, if you really believe in the Subliners being online warriors, they did it previously in the previous majors, so I think there's a justification there. I don't know that I buy it, but it's there.
I mean, this is like,
I'm trying to look back. Did they beat OpTic last time?
yeah, they did 3-1, I think.
The one thing I would say, one thing worth
pulling it up
noting,
now.
Subliners, despite their online prowess, still questionable on control. They lost control to LAG, whereas OpTic is just lethal on control. And so if you want to go in,
yeah, they beat them 3-1. Subliners beat Texas 3-1.
And which one was it? Was it control?
And let me just check the control. Yeah. So
Correct.
Texas
So
won.
what I was gonna.
So it was Hardpoint.
I was gonna say.
Hardpoint S&D was a close 6-5.
What I was gonna say is handicapping map 3 for Texas minus 1.5. You can get that at 2.41. I think that is playing into OpTic's strength and playing into Subliner's weakness. For that kind of a spread, you're getting 2.41. So I really like that value.
And Subliners won both hardpoints. First one quite decisively. So
different Subliner team.
Well, to be fair,
different
I think
Texas
they were
team, but
partially experimenting.
Yeah.
But on the note of control,
tell me my control
part of the
pick's
problem
wrong.
with doing that is
It's too easy and we make too much money.
No, you're betting on a coin flip because that's the way that the series are decided, and what control map they're playing is pretty much decided by who wins that coin flip, which means that even if you get the favorited map, like i.e. OpTic Texas on Tuscan, which they're very good at, and I would presume that they pick every time against Subliners, they're going to spawn on offense, which means that they probably have to play 2 offenses before they get a chance to win 2 defenses. So, and defense is notoriously a lot easier on something like Tuscan Control. Even though OpTic is fairly good at winning offenses, it's just not, like, the odds aren't in your favor for them to win like 3-1 or 3-0.
The maps aren't balanced because we're playing a shitty card game.
Yeah, I mean, if we had,
I'm like, you know what? I'm 100% certain that 100 Thieves game is going to be some form of arena shooter. Just because Halo and COD, I think, are doing so badly.
Oh yeah, I'm almost certain that it will be.
There's a massive gap in the market. We don't need another battle.
Well,
Dr.
Dr. Disrespect going to make the battle royale.
Like CS:GO. Exactly, he's already making one. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna, and it's Nate Shot's bread and butter.
Yeah, I mean that's all of their bread and butter. That's what they love, like FPS and League a little bit here and there. I know you love your boys. I think NYSL could give them a little bit of trouble. I do think that like this is a big prove it series for OpTic. However, like everything's on the line for New York at the same time. So don't have a great read on this, but I think OpTic being at 1.7 against anyone is kind of crazy. So might as well take
I'm
it.
sticking to my guns. Minus 1.5, map 3, 2.41. You heard it here. Nikki, be ready to cut this.
Clip it.
I will edit it. Your first clip, your first official. You'll be the number one face talking.
I
already had to. At some point, I'm gonna have to put a lower third. I had to take a phone call, which luckily you guys were chatting, so I just muted myself. But there's just gonna be me. I was like, I try to move myself out of frame, and then I realized Riverside just cuts us in. That our actual frame is not, so it's not me out of frame, and just me in the background going.
Time to edit.
Yeah,
I think those are all the games. I mean, like Boston Breach LAG.
We also kind of went through literally every game.
Flat.
So.
No, we did, but I mean, we went through every day and just kind of picked out the good ones here and there. But we didn't talk about Breach Guerrillas, so I was leaving the floor open on that end. But I don't really have any great takes there. I think it's accurately priced. With that being said, if you want to join the conversation, follow us on Twitter at Bo3 Network and hit that link in our bio. It's a Discord. You can talk to us there. We're pretty active, especially during match weekends, and we like to talk about League as well. Additionally, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening, go watch it on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit that notification bell, and keep up to date with all the episodes that are posted, all the clips, the 3.0 CLG.
Maybe it's here, maybe
there's a button there or somewhere in this screen. But you should hit it and sub and then follow us on everything.
I think I would also take Thieves minus 2.5 against the Legion at 2.42. Just one last one.
Okay, I mean, whatever.
A late moment shout out there.
It's fine.
I hate
the time.
I hate that actually fundamentally, but minus 2.5 against a shitty Paris Legion team at 2.42. It feels right.
For you beautiful people that listen
See,
to the
this is for our
outro,
loyal
this is
fans.
the
This is for
alpha.
the fans.
That's the real alpha right there.
Yeah, these are fans that like they hear the outro and they're like, all right, we're done, and then they're the true fans who stick it through, and then they get these
Little
little.
nuggets.
We call them
gems.
subscribers. No, thank you for listening to another episode of Money Hill. We'll see you next week.
Toodaloo.
You gonna say bye, everybody, Nikki, or are you just gonna?
Bye, everyone.